Welcome to Beyond the Badge. Beyond the Badge is an inside look at your Oshkosh Police Department, brought to you through the resources of Oshkosh Community Media Services.
Welcome to this edition of Beyond the Badge. I'm Joe Nichols. On today's show, we're going to focus on the dangers of social media, and we will be talking with Deputy Pete Ehlert from the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office about the Winnebago County Social Media Coalition. We welcome all of you listening to us on 101.9 WOCT and those of you watching us on GovTV. Pete, welcome to the show.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. And as we get started, please tell our viewers and listeners about yourself.
Well, I'm a deputy with the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, obviously. I've been a deputy for 16 years, the last 14 here in Winnebago County. I've worked in many different capacities throughout the Sheriff's Office, corrections, patrol, our work release unit. Now I have the opportunity to work in community programs. I'm very passionate about it. I love getting out in the community and doing things to help the community, make Winnebago County a better place to live for everybody. I think it's a great place now, and we can do things to make it better. And so I really enjoy what I'm doing. And obviously, in community programs, you're involved in a lot of different activities. Yep. And whether it's neighborhood watch groups, I teach the DARE program for Winnebago County, different organizations and groups and so on and so forth. And one of the things is serving on coalitions and organizations. And the Social Media Coalition is one of those that I'm very passionate about and have been working on very hard for the last couple of years.
Yep, and I'll tell you, Pete is passionate about everything that he does, and especially with the DARE program, he does a fantastic job with it. But Pete, the internet is a great tool for all of us to use. I mean, I look on the Google and I find whatever I want, and it's right at my fingertips. And, in response to the dangers, though, that are out there, the Winnebago County Social Media Coalition was started. Tell us about that group.
First, I think before I get into what the coalition is all about and what we did and how we started, I think you hit the nail right on the head, Joe, when you talked about the internet is a great tool. Mm-hmm. Part of what we do as a coalition is we do presentations out in the community. You've been part of those presentations. You've done some with me and with some other people and so forth. But the internet's a great tool. And what I do all the time when I'm out in doing presentations, whether it's with youth or whether it's with adults, as I tell them all the time, look, the internet is a great tool. And I like to use the analogy of when we were back in school, and even though that might have been many moons ago, but when a teacher came to us and said, okay, here's your topic and you need to write a report on this. You and I had to go back to the library. We had to go to those index cards. We had to find books. We had to read books. We had to take notes. We had to go encyclopedias. We had to take notes on those. We had 8, 10, 12 hours of work into that report before we even started an outline to write it. The internet provides us the opportunity to click the mouse 3 times, and that information that took us that time to put together is right there. We don't even have to read it and highlight it anymore because the internet can do it for you. You can make the highlighting just a part of the tool. So it is a great tool. There are dangers out there, and we're going to talk about some of those today in the show, but the way the coalition started up was a few years ago. One of the school districts that I teach in had asked if I could help them out because they were having some problems with students and how they were acting and things they were doing when they're online. As we know, we've become a world of technology. It's become who we are. Our kids communicate that way. One of my biggest pet peeves is being in a classroom or being around students and they're talking to each other, but they're not saying words. They're texting it to each other. And so that's how our young generation communicates. That's how most people communicate now. And so they were a little bit on edge because some of the students weren't acting appropriately when using that technology. So they said, can you speak to our students? And So I started putting a presentation together, and I worked with some other officers, some of them through Oshkosh Police Departments, some of them at our agency. But when we started discussing, we said, I think we need to send a bigger message. We need to get out to parents and to the community and to send the message to them about what's happening online and how to act responsibly online. And not only talk to the students, but talk to their parents so their parents know what the students are actually doing when they're online or when they're using that technology. From those presentations and all those discussions came the idea of, let's start a coalition. Let's bring other districts together, other agencies together. And so we decided to come up with the Winnebago County Social Media Coalition. This is a multi-agency basically task force that works together to create resources for the public, for parents, for the community to go to learn about what's happening online and resources that they can use to educate themselves to be better online. So right now that coalition consists of representatives from all of the law enforcement agencies throughout Winnebago County. It consists of representatives from a majority of the school districts in Winnebago County. We also have a representative from the district attorney's office. Assistant District Attorney Eric Spar is on there. And we have Reach Counseling Services as part of it. We have community members that are now wanting to get involved. We also have students involved. Part of the group, it is evolved into more than just police officers and school districts working. We have a whole different group of people, and you're going to see the students that are involved. We're going to see some of those videos coming up here, and I think the people will enjoy them. And we're going to be releasing these slowly over time through our different social media avenues that we have available for people. So that's kind of how this all evolved and what we're doing. And we've come up with a kind of a mission, and what we want to do is basically provide the general public with to help reduce in cyber crimes, to help reduce the misuse, and to provide educational tools for schools, parents, and students to use at all times. There is a number of great, incredible resources that are out there. And we just need to channel people in one direction to be able to find those resources.
Fantastic. And, we talked about dangers and what are they? What are they that they're on the internet?
There's a lot of good things with the internet. The one thing I never tell people the internet's a bad place. Like I said, it's a great resource. We can use it a lot. We can have fun on the internet, but there are some avenues out there. And one of the things that I think becomes a danger with the internet, it is worldwide. And people seem to forget that sometimes. As I tell students sometimes, are there bad people that live in our communities? Are there people who do things that could be harmful to other people? Absolutely. But there's police officers, firefighters, and things that we try to keep people safe in those situations. When you get into the internet, we can't put little police officers and little firefighters into the internet to protect people. And when it gets on the internet, anybody who has access to that internet, whether they're here, whether they're half a world apart, they can get that information from us, and they can get our personal information. So there's dangers. Having said that, those bad people that are in our community, there's also some bad people that live in that internet community. And those bad people can put us in danger and put our children in danger. And that's what our focus is to make sure that people know how to be safe and make good, safe, responsible decisions while online.
Very good. One of these subjects is sexting.
Yes.
What is it?
Sexting, if you think about it, sexting is the use of technology to put sexually explicit material online or send it to another person. The most common form of sexting is used through cell phones, sending pictures, inappropriate comments, those types of things to another person. The problem that happens with sexting, first of all, when children are involved, the problem with sexting is what they don't understand is that it's a crime. It is a felony. because it's when a child sends a picture of their body to someone else, they don't have the right to make that decision about their body because they're not an adult.
Yep.
And so that when that happens, they are committing a crime. Now, when they send it to that other person, if that other person knows that they are not an adult,
Yep.
and they receive that picture, they have committed a crime also, because they now are in possession of that explicit material known as child pornography.
Oh, yeah.
And so now there's been 2 crimes committed, and they don't even think about it. And the problem is that it steamrolls and it snowballs.
Yeah.
And if it gets sent to other people, a couple things happen there. One, there's more crimes being committed, but also that person loses control. They no longer have control of where that picture is going, and once it goes to the next person. And when they don't have control of that picture, now who knows who's going to get that? Could one of those predators that we're going to talk about in a little bit get that picture? And now that child is vulnerable. So those are some of the problems that exist with it. It is child pornography.
Yeah.
And many people don't know that. Having said that, when we do presentations about this, one of the things, and especially when we talk to parents, is one of the things that we like to tell the parents is that we need to work together. If you see an inappropriate picture, we need to be working together, whether it's law enforcement, the district attorney's office, child protective services, who I forgot to mention is also part of the coalition. We all need to be working together. And yes, it is a crime, but you still need to get that information to us so that we can try to protect other children and try to protect that child as much as we can, so that picture doesn't continue to get distributed and so forth.
Absolutely.
And I think we all want to protect our children and protect your child, but we also have to make sure that that child isn't exposed any more than they can, than they should be in a situation like that. And hopefully, there's a good communication process between the parents and the child and the schools and so on and so forth. So.
Very important. We're going to go to one of those videos right now, and it is on sexting, and very well done by high school kids throughout the community.
And we can talk about that after the video of who produced these and how that group is involved with this.
Very good. Okay, we'll go to the video now.
Sent to one, seen by many.
Yeah, that's just something that does occur. I mean, once that picture's gone out of your hands, it can go anywhere and everywhere as fast as possible.
It can, and even though you saw in that video, you saw it on a cell phone. Now think about if somebody gets that picture on their cell phone, what can they do with it? They can post it online.
Yeah.
And now it can be out there for the world to see.
Yeah.
And that's what I think kids don't think about sometimes, is how easily that can be distributed and how quickly that can be distributed to other people.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets out there, and now they've lost control. And now they're exposing themselves to some of those not so nice people that are on that online community.
Very true.
The group that created these videos that we're watching today is called the Communities Group. It started with the Communities Group, and we have 2 other districts involved in it. Winnicott got involved, and along with it, and Oshkosh West created a video also, and I think we're showing the West video also today.
Yes.
But we got involved with the Community Group, and the students that are involved is we went to them, and one of the things that we realized is when we were doing these presentations to students, is the students are really going to listen to students.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to pay attention to each other. So we said, let's get students involved in this and have them send messages to other students about how to be safe and make good and safe, responsible decisions online. And some of the videos that they came up with and the analogies they used are just incredible in how they put this together. And the thing that I like about it is, for example, a video created at Oshkosh West. If they see the students that are from Oshkosh West, those students are going to pay attention, because It's personal to them. It's somebody that they're used to seeing in the halls every day and sitting in class with and being on activities and clubs and sports teams and so forth with. So it means something to them. Same thing with Oshkosh North or Winnicott or Amro or any of the other school districts that Neenah, Menasha around in the private districts like Lowards and so forth, that they see the students that they're used to seeing, they're more apt to pay attention.
Absolutely.
And they can get the message across.
Absolutely. Another one of those dangers out there, cyberbullying. Okay, what is it?
I think before we get into cyberbullying, we really need to define what bullying is.
Okay.
And I think bullying, people have a misconception about bullying. We can have a peer conflict. You and I can disagree. That's not bullying. When we're mad at each other or upset with each other, and sometimes we say things we don't mean or do things we don't mean. What bullying is, it's an intentional act, and it happens over and over again, where somebody isn't intentionally trying to harm or control another person, whether it's emotionally or physically. That's what bullying is. Well, what cyberbullying is having that control over another person through the use of technology.
Okay.
The reason I think cyberbullying has become such a prominent situation in our communities now is because of the evolution of technology and the evolution of the computer. But also, I think what it does is it makes it easier for somebody. One thing that I think is missing is empathy in our society. And the empathy, what happens is when somebody says something about somebody else, when somebody makes a comment about somebody else, they don't see how that other person reacts. And so cyberbullying is an easy way for them to do it, and they don't see the reaction on the other person's part.
Okay, very good. We're going to go right to this video here with cyberbullying, and once again done by the kids.
Yes.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here, from this dark, cold hotel room, and the endlessness that you fear. You are
Great. We're going to continue our talk here with Deputy Pete Ehlert on the dangers of social media and the internet right after this short break. Welcome back to Beyond the Badge. We're talking here with Deputy Pete Ehlert on the dangers of social media and the internet. Pete, why does a predator use social media for the internet to contact kids?
Well, I think there's a few things involved with that, but I think the big thing is the anonymity that they have. They feel that nobody really knows who they are, and it's easy for them to contact kids. Plus, as I just said, it's easy. It's the predators. If you think about a predator, they prey on the weak, and so what they want to do is they want to be able to reach out to children, to kids in different ways. The couple things they do is they know exactly what kids like. They know the music they like to listen to. They know the games they like to play. One of the things that I ask kids all the time is, what do you like to do on the internet? And the first thing that every kid will raise their hand and go, I love to play games. And I'll say to them, well, when you play those games, do you play against the computer or do you play against sometimes people you don't know? They'll say, well, sometimes I play against people I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I said, when you play those games against people you don't know, first of all, you don't know where they're from. I said, second of all, can you communicate with them? Well, yeah, there's little chat rooms that are involved that I can talk to them and say things. I said, how do you know who you're really talking to? And sometimes it depends on the kids, and they'll say, well, they tell me who they are. And I said, well, can you be sure that that's the person you're talking to? So the predators, they'll use games and they'll use different apps where they know the kids are going to hang out, so they have the access to communicate with them and talk to them all the time.
Very good. And we've got a video on predators, which I think is a pretty good one. And we're going to play that now.
All right, can you just take the top off of that, and can you just get all of it out of there, all the toothpaste out? Squirt the whole thing. Everyone ready? Every last drop. All right, can you do me a favor? Can you put all that back in the tube, please? Yep.
I'll try.
Every last bit of it has to go back in. Can you? No? So to answer my question, you can't put any of it back. No? So to answer my question, you can't put any of that back in?
No.
Probably our favorite video out there, because it really tells you exactly what kids do, and they put it all out on the table, and they don't think, hey, where's this going to?
Exactly. You put it out there and you can't take it back. I really like the one young man who, with the shaving cream, and said, "Can you do me a favor and put it back?" And I'll try.
Yeah.
You know, but you can't. Once you throw it out online, it's out there.
Absolutely.
And I think sometimes when we talk about predators, Joe, I think one of the big things that we have to understand is they're going to look for the weak. If you think about a wolf preying on a lamb, it's looking for that weak lamb. Well, think about it online the same way. That predator is looking for someone who's struggling, maybe somebody who puts that. What do kids do? They're honest, aren't they?
Oh,
They throw their emotions out there,
Oh,
and they let people know how they're feeling.
Yeah.
And so when they're telling the world on the internet, "I'm sad," well, now that predator, that's that door. What are you sad about? And now that communication process starts, and it leads into that grooming process that I think we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, and what is it? Yeah.
Grooming, the analogy I like to use when we talk about grooming is think about it in the morning when you get up. What do? You get yourself ready, don't you? You get dressed, you clean up, you do whatever you do on a ritual basis every day, and you groom yourself to get ready for that day, whether it's combing your hair, brushing your teeth, those types of things. Well, the grooming process for a predator is basically the same. What they're trying to do is get you ready for them, so that they can expose you to things and do things that they shouldn't be doing. And there's 6 very, very distinct stages, and and I'm briefly going to go over them here, but when we do presentations in the public, I really spend a lot of time on this, because I think this is vital for parents and the community to understand, because you can recognize these stages in your child or in your families or in your friends' kids or so forth, and you can try to help somebody who might be in it. And the first stage is they target the victim. They target the victim by being in those apps and being in those sites that they know the kids like. Okay. Whether it's a music site, whether it's a game site, whether it's just a social networking site, but they're going to be there and they're going to look for that prey. They're going to look for that victim, that person who's weak, and talk to them. The second stage is they're going to gain the trust. They're going to create that relationship. Wow, what music do you like? Well, I like that music too. What sports do you like? Who's your favorite athlete? Well, I like him too, or I like her too. Stage 3 then, once they gain the trust, they feel the need. They maybe start sending them gifts. Maybe all of a sudden they're going to have things that they don't normally have. Or they're going to also try to, at this stage, once the gifts start coming, then they're going to try to isolate the victim. And by that I mean they're either going to try meetings with them or going to say, well, make sure nobody else knows that I sent you this. Okay. And make sure nobody else knows that I gave you this gift or whatever. And then stage 5, we're going to get into the sexualization. Now they've created that relationship. The child is a little bit more comfortable. The predators created that relationship, so now they're going to test the waters. They're going to see how far they can go. They're going to talk about sexual things because that child is feeling more mature because they're treating them as that mature adult, and they're going to continue. To enhance that relationship, and then the last one is they're going to maintain control. That if it gets to that point, what happens at that point is that the child has lost control now because now they're being threatened. If you say something, I'm going to expose all those pictures that you gave me on the internet, and I'm going to put it out there. Now the child's trapped. Now they're scared because they're in pretty deep into this situation, and they don't know how to get out, and they're scared because they think, well, now I'm in trouble. And that's where, if we recognize these as adults, then we can try to help the child before it gets to that stage 5 or stage 6 where it's sexualized or there's control gained in that situation.
Very good. And we've got one more video that we're going to show, and this is on grooming. Another great video by the students. And so, Pete, how would somebody protect themselves, or where could they go to get the information to protect themselves online?
Great question. We've got, we have set up our own social media sites. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're on Instagram. Winnebago County Social Media Coalition. You can go there and find us in those places. There are millions of resources out there. We share them on there. You can go to ICAC, which is Internet Crimes Against Children, their website, the FBI, places called MobiSip, NetSmarts, Protect Young Eyes, Common Sense Media, Mobile Spy and Mobile Watchdogs. Life 360 is a great one for adults to use to monitor their children. You can go to all those cell companies, so forth. All those are great. Also, if you're interested, if any organization or group is interested, they can contact either you or I or someone, and we'd be more than happy. We do presentations all the time, whether it's businesses, organizations, groups, or whoever it is.
Very good. Pete, thank you for being on today's show.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And for those that may have missed the show or would like to watch it again, you can go to oshkosh.media.org and watch the show, or you could look at previous episodes of Beyond the Badge. A reminder quickly that school is back in session. Please drive safely while you're out there. From all of us here at Beyond the Badge, stay safe.